everybody, it's Emily at Art Schooling, and today I'm going to be doing a book haul, but also a tea tasting, because my Plum Deluxe Tea came. I get the monthly subscription to Plum Deluxe Teas. I get the 2 teas subscription, and so I thought it'd be fun, since I already had a book haul I needed to film, to do the tea unbagging? Tea unbagging, that sounds weird. The tea unbagging and tasting in my book haul video, just to like 2 birds, 1 stone. So, if you're not familiar with Plum Deluxe, I am an affiliate. I'll leave a link down below. Basically, if you click the link and you buy anything, I get a little commission. So that's great if you want to do that, but you don't have to. I love this tea so much. I'm kind of obsessed right now with them. They have such interesting flavors and combinations, things I would never have thought to try. And I love that I get a surprise tea in the mail once a month. It's fun. So they have 2 options. I get the 2 tea option, so I get the monthly tea. They always have like a special monthly tea that comes in the subscription, and then I also get a second tea, usually an herbal tea, and it also comes with some samples. So let's check this out and see what it is, and then I'll go brew a cup, and then we'll talk about books. So let me just get into this envelope so we can finally see. I've had this sitting here for a full week and I haven't had a chance to film anything, and so let's just see. All right, I think this is the monthly tea. Ooh, I'm excited. Okay, so this is No Mistakes Oolong Tea. I am obsessed with oolong tea. I'm so excited right now. You guys, this is great. Okay, so it's oolong tea, lemon peel, almond essence. So I'm a little nervous about the lemon and the almond, I'm not gonna lie. I love oolong, but I'm not a fan of citrusy flavors in my tea. And the last time I had a tea from them with almond essence, it was a bit strong. So I'm excited, but also a little nervous. But I love oolong, so that's really exciting. Okay, then the second tea, which like I said is usually herbal, I got Soul Warmer Herbal Tea. So this one says it's Rooibos tea, apple pieces, cocoa nibs, orange peel, calendula, blue cornflowers, hazelnut, and chestnut essences. Caramel extract. Ooh, this sounds freaking amazing. I've had a hard time getting into herbal tea. I like black tea. That's basically all I drink is black tea. I also like green tea, but herbal teas are really hit and miss with me. And the last 2 herbals I got from them were not things that I really enjoyed. So this one sounds really good, so I'm hopeful. And the sample tea I got is Holiday Embrace Herbal Tea. This cranberry chai is your partner in crime for celebrations of all kinds. So this is cranberries, rooibos tea, orange peel, hibiscus, cinnamon, ginger, cardamom, clove, cranberry essence. Interesting. So basically what the sample is it's exactly enough for 1 cup of tea. So we'll try this out sometime and see. It sounds very spicy. I'm not a huge chai drinker, so I don't know if I'll like that one as much. But both of these sound really promising. And this card tells about the tea. So it says this month's blend is based on a recipe that began as a mistake. One ingredient that looks similar to another was carefully weighed out and poured, and only after it couldn't be undone was it realized this large batch of tea was incorrect. And someone said, well, is the tea any good? We tasted it, and it was, reminding us that sometimes making lemonade from lemons comes true, and in this case it literally was lemons that were the mistaken ingredient. This blend works perfectly as a palate cleanser after those heavy holiday meals, and the lemon-almond combo is a mental boost to help get you focused and ready for where you need to prioritize in the days ahead. So now I'm curious, since it says the lemon was an accident, I wonder if this is good. I think this is what I'm gonna try, because like I said, I love me some oolong. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go get me a cup of tea brewing, and then I'll come back and we'll talk books, I'll sip tea, it'll be great. So I'll see you back in just a minute. So I just went and started brewing, but I forgot to smell these on camera, so let me do that now. So this is the No Mistakes Oolong. and I smelled it when I opened it, and it's amazing. So, oh my gosh, it smells so good. It has a very strong almondy scent, but oh, I don't even know how to describe it, but it smells amazing. So I'm hoping it tastes good. And then I opened up the Soul Warmer Herbal Tea, and it smells like cookies. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to have a mug of this tonight. I like that it's herbal so that there's no caffeine, but it smells like cookies. It literally smells like cookies to me. So I'm very excited. I feel like this will be really nice to sip in the evenings when I want like a treat. So my tea is brewing. It takes 3 to 5 minutes, so I'm gonna let that go. I like my tea a little stronger, so I usually go slightly over, but I also know you gotta be careful, especially with oolong. It can get bitter really fast. So I'm gonna try to time this. And like I said, I'm gonna leave all the information below for Plum Deluxe. I'll leave a link to the subscription, to the website, so you can check it out yourself. And like I said, I'm a tea ambassador with them, so I'll get a little commission if you buy anything. Also note that Plum Deluxe sells a lot of interesting teas and also teaware and stuff, so if you're looking to buy gifts for somebody this holiday season who happens to enjoy tea, they've got a lot of great stuff. Just throwing it out there. Well, let's just get into this book haul. I have divided it up in several neatly organized piles so that I know what went with what. Obviously, let's start with The Toll. That's the book that I was the most hyped for. I got 3 books this month from Owl Crate because Owl Crate was doing a promotion where if you're a subscriber or you have a membership with them, then you would be able to order a copy of The Toll through them, a special copy that was signed by Neal Shusterman, and I could not resist, so I went ahead and I subscribed to Owl Crate, which I said I was never going to do because I just don't need all that stuff. And I don't read enough YA anymore to justify it. So anyway, I subscribed. And I got the October box. But I also got my copy of The Toll, and it's beautiful. I don't have it now because Sarah took it, but I also got another copy of this. So this is the Owl Crate version, which has slightly different colors on the cover than the other one, and it's signed, so you can see that. And I've already read it. I'm reading it again because I read it to myself, and now I'm reading it aloud with my twins, so I'm excited to reread it with them and like be able to chat about it as we go because I have a lot of things I want to say. So I'm very excited. This is also the book of the month for our booked book club, and we're going to be reading this month and in December. So the live show will be like late December-ish, like mid to late December. I'm thinking around the 19th, 20th, somewhere in there. I'll have more on that later. I just have to double check with Sarah because she's going to be here for that, and so I need to make sure our schedules line up. Anyway, loved this. 5 stars. Awesome finale to an amazing trilogy. I have lots of thoughts. I cannot wait to talk to you guys at the live show. And I'm gonna go check on my tea because I'm pretty sure it's done, so I'll be right back. Like I said, this is the No Mistakes Oolong, and I'm about to try it. Smells freaking amazing. Ooh, I really like this. Okay, so this is really nice. I only added a little bit of sugar because I don't always like my oolong to be sweetened. But since this had like a fruity thing going on, I thought I'd add a little sugar. And I think it's like perfect like this. So my final verdict is I will purchase this again. This is really nice. I think this actually, the almond in this works so much better than it did in the chai because it kind of blends more. The flavors are more compatible so that it doesn't just taste like almond. Okay, and also Sarah, don't be mad at me for using your mug. I'm sorry, I won't use it when you're home. Back to what I was doing, the Owl Crate unboxing stuff. I mean, I didn't unbox the Owl Crate on camera. I did, however, unbox it on the phone with Sarah through text because she was so upset that I got it and that she was at school. So anyway, so in that box was Crier's War by Nina Varela, and I Hope You Get This Message by Farah Nazrishi. We already owned a copy of this because Sarah really wanted to read it, so she had pre-ordered it. So now she has 2 copies because she loved this book. I think she said this was her favorite book of the year. So I'm probably going to read this because it does sound intriguing. This is a sort of like sci-fi romance, I think, but it has to do with like an android uprising and a human falling in love with an android, if I'm understanding it correctly. And it's a female-female romance. And then this one is more light sci-fi, I believe, and it's I think there's some kind of message coming from space, perhaps, and it's a group of kids trying to figure out about that. I don't really know a whole lot about it, honestly, because this book just wasn't on my radar, but I've since heard like 1 or 2 people talk about it, and it sounds like it could be interesting. So I'm going to try to give this a shot too at some point. I don't know when I'll read these because I would not have bought either of these books, to be honest, if they hadn't come in the Owl Crate. But I have them now, so I'm going to try to read them. Well, actually, Sarah would love to have this, so that's going in her collection. In October, we went to one of our favorite book events, which is the Merrimack Valley Halloween Book Festival. They have it every year in Haverhill, Mass. We try to go. We didn't go last year because we went to the Boston Book Festival instead, but I think this was just a much better time. It tends to be mostly horror authors, although there are like thriller authors and mystery and that sort of thing too, and some fantasy as well. So it's a pretty good mix of genre. It's not just horror. But there were some things there. There were 2 in particular authors that were there that I was like, I'm going to see them. I'm going to get the book signed. It's going to be great. So Catherynne Valente was there, and you've heard me rave about space opera that she wrote. And so I've been on a mission. I want to read more of her books because I loved space opera. That was my first book by Catherynne Valente. So I wanted to read something else. So when I was there, I picked up the first 2 books in this series. It's called The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making, and The Girl Who Fell Beneath Fairyland and Led the Rebels There. So I'm very excited to read these. These are middle grade fantasy, and she signed them both for me. I'll show you the page that she signed in this one, as well as the one she signed in this one. So that was very cool. She was lovely. Her baby was there, and he is so cute. They were dressed up for Halloween because it's the Halloween Book Festival, so they encourage people to come in costume, and her little baby was dressed up, and it was so cute. The other author that I was very excited to meet was Grady Hendrix. I have read, I read My Best Friend's Exorcism, I think last year. Was it last year or the year before? I feel like it was last year, and I freaking loved it. It was one of my favorite books of the year. So good. And then I also read We Sold Our Souls, which is about like a rock and roll, like heavy metal band from like the 80s and 90s, and that was great. And then I also own Paperbacks from Hell, which is all about like really cheesy looking paperbacks from the 70s and 80s, and it's great. So I was on a mission. I wanted to meet him because I think his books are amazing, and I really wanted to get Horror Store because that's one of the only ones that I don't own, which at the time is what I believed to be true. And now I realize that's not true. He has like a couple other books that were just like not as high up on the radar. And so I'm kicking myself. I need to go get those too. But I now own a copy of Horror Store, which I'm so excited to read this. This is like basically one of the things I love about Grady Hendrix's books is that they're so quirky and they're just so weird. And I love that he brings in other things to the story. So like, I have a copy of My Best Friend's Exorcism that looks like a yearbook, and then this looks like an IKEA like catalog. This is about basically a haunted IKEA. It's not an IKEA, they call it Orsk in this, so it's similar to IKEA, but like it looks like a catalog, and I'm just so excited to read this. So he signed this for me as well. I'll find the signed page and show you. Yeah. So now I feel like an ass because I told him this was the last book I needed to get to own all of his books. So that's what he wrote in here. And now I'm like, oh, just kidding. I think there's like 2 other books I don't own. So my bad. I didn't buy this there. I just brought it to get signed. This is my other copy. I have 2 copies of My Best Friend's Exorcism. I have the paperback because I loved the cover on the paperback. But I also really wanted this because this is like a yearbook. So it's like the end pages are signed like a yearbook, and then it's got like pictures and stuff, like the front of a yearbook. It's so cute. So I really wanted to have this signed as well. So, but he is just a lovely person. I'm sad he gave a, they did a panel where he was talking about weird horror movies, but it was at the end of the day and my ulcerative colitis was acting up that day. I did not feel well, so we ended up leaving early, so I missed his panel and I'm so bummed about it. But anyway, we did go to a few other panels there, and one of them I heard this author talking about her book and I thought it sounded so intriguing. This is Invisible Chains by Michelle Renee Lane, and this book, it says, Jacqueline is a young Creole slave in antebellum New Orleans. An unusual stranger who has haunted her dreams since childhood comes to stay as a guest in her master's house. Soon after his arrival, members of the household die mysteriously and Jacqueline is suspected of murder. Despite her fear of the stranger, Jacqueline befriends him and he helps her escape. While running from the slave catchers, they meet conjurers, a loup-garou, and a traveling circus of supernatural freaks. She relies on ancestral magic to guide her and finds strength to conquer her fears on the journey. So it sounded really interesting and I was very curious about it, so I went ahead and picked up a copy there and got it signed, because if you have the opportunity to get your book signed by the author, always do. Grab a sip of tea. So this next pile of books, you're going to see a theme. One of my twins came out as transgender, and I went on a mission to buy all the books because that's how I deal with things. I buy the books. So I'll show you the books that I bought. I have not read any of these because it's been chaos. I have had so much to do and I really want to get to all of these, so it's bugging me. But between Sarah and Problems of a Book Nerd, I found a lot of great titles. So I bought Real Queer America, LGBT Stories from the Red States by Samantha Allen. This book is written by a trans woman and it's like it's nonfiction about her experiences exploring like the parts of America that you think of as red states, that you think of as being super conservative, and showing that there's lots of liberal and LGBT stuff going on there too. So I really want to pick this up. I started it briefly and then I was just like, I can't right now. I have so many other things I have to read. So I set it aside and I've been dying to pick this up though because it sounds really good. And I know like Cece at Problems of a Book Nerd, this is one of her favorite books. So I really want to read this. For Robbie, I picked up these two books in particular because Sarah said Robbie should read these. And so I got Dreadnought, Nemesis Book 1 by April Daniels. This is a like superhero story, but about a trans girl, I believe. And this, I don't know enough about it to explain. This is about a trans girl who somehow gets to be like go into the body of a woman, I believe. Am I reading this right? And gives her the opportunity to present as a woman, but in the shape of this superhero. And that is all I really know. And I've heard it's very good, but also there's some transphobia in it if that's an issue that you would not want to read about. But I bought this mostly for Robbie to read. But of course, Robbie has not read it. I also got Not Your Sidekick by C.B. Lee, which I don't think this has a main character that's trans. I think it's a side character, but Sarah thought that I should get this too. And I don't know anything about this, except Sarah told me to buy it. So I believe this also is a superhero style book, but I don't know enough to tell you anything about it besides that there is a trans side character. Also picked up for me, I got Nevada by Imogene Binney, which is also about a trans woman, and it says it's a darkly comedic story of Maria Griffiths, a young trans woman living in New York City and trying to stay true to her punk values while working in retail. When she finds out her girlfriend has lied to her, the world she thought she'd carefully built for herself begins to unravel, and Maria sets out on a journey that will most certainly change her forever. So this is an adult book. The other two I just showed were younger YA or upper YA, in that general range. This is an adult book. And then I have two books by Meredith Russo. I got If I Was Your Girl and Birthday, both about trans women, I think. These are both YA, and I've heard very good things about them. I've been dying to read both of them. I just haven't had time. I need to clone myself so that I can read all the things. And the last book I bought in that section is A Queer History of the United States for Young People by Michael Bronski. I bought this thinking that it would just make a nice supplement, but Robbie actually started this all by herself. That literally never happens. But this is American history through the lens of LGBTQ people. This would make a great supplement though. I mean, we're using it as a supplement for level 12. I received books from publishers. I got my hands on an ARC, a physical ARC that I requested. I was so excited because I get e-ARCs. I'm on NetGalley, so I get e-ARCs sometimes, and that's great, but I often find that the formatting is weird and it's hard to read, or that it won't even open for me. Like I can't always upload the book to my Kindle, so NetGalley is touch and go for me. So I really wanted a physical ARC of a book so I could feel like a real booktuber. When I heard about this book, I got so excited and I decided, why not try? And I'll send an email and I'll ask for an ARC. And they literally responded to me like not even an hour later and were like, sure. I was so excited. So anyway, that is Blood Countess by Lana Popovic. And I'm going to be reading this really soon because my goal was to read it in December so I could hype it up for January, because this comes out January 28th, 2020. And I'm really excited because I'm a fan of Dracula. I love Dracula stories, but I've also really always been intrigued by Elizabeth Bathory. I find her a fascinating historical character, but it's rare for me to find a book about her that I like. Either they're really boring or they just go way too cheesy on me. I don't know. So I'm hopeful that this is good, but I'm very excited to read it. It says, 16-year-old Anna Darvulia has just begun working as a scullery maid for Countess Elizabeth Bathory, a woman as enigmatic as she is beautiful. When Elizabeth takes a liking to Anna, she is vaulted to chambermaid status and begins to reside in the Countess's private suite, far from the filthy, drafty servants' quarters below. For the ambitious Anna, it's a dream. She receives wages generous enough to provide for her family. And the lonely, calculating countess, whose cruel husband is often away at war, begins to groom Anna as her friend, confidant, and eventual lover. So I'm not going to read the whole back here, but this sounds great. And it's young adult, and I cannot wait to pick this up. Like I said, it's probably going to be in the next couple of weeks because I'm very, very curious. But I was just so excited that I received an ARC, and this is from Amulet Books. So thank you so much, Amulet Books. You guys are awesome. I'm very excited to read this. Off of that success, I thought, why not email Quirk Books and see if I can get my hands on Grady Hendrix's newest title that's coming out next year. And so I emailed them, and I always put all my information. So of course I put that I run Build Your Library and I write lesson plans, and they were like, wait, let me put you through to our children's department. We might have some books for you. So I never did hear back about the Grady Hendrix book, but they were kind enough to send me a set of the Kid Legend books. So we actually really like these. I already own a few of them. So I was excited for Regina because now she owns quite a few of these. So they gave me Kid Activist, Kid Athlete, Kid Presidents, and Kid Scientist. We've already started reading Kid Scientist, and so these are really fun. I would like to put these in our morning basket because they're perfect for that. We read one story a week and we learn a little bit about a new person each week. So they're very cute. They're like, the illustrations are very cutesy and bright and colorful, and so these are great. Thank you so much, Quirk Books, for sending these my way. We love them, and I hope you guys go pick them up too. I did buy 2 other books for my daughter. We bought her story, 50 Women and Girls Who Shook Up the World, written by Catherine Halligan. This is huge, like a big oversized book, but I really like how bright and colorful. Also great to put in your morning basket. It's bright, it's colorful. It's a 2-page spread for each person, so it's a really great mix of different people from throughout history, around the world. This is a really great collection. I highly recommend it. We also bought The Wild Robot Escapes. We read The Wild Robot last month, and it was one of her favorite books of all time. So as soon as she knew that there was a sequel, she needed it. So when she was sick this past week, I bought this for her as a surprise to make her feel better, and she was so excited. We had to stop what we were doing immediately and start reading this. So we're not that far in yet because, yeah, we're only like 75 pages in, but it's really cute so far. So I highly recommend that series for read aloud, because it just works really nicely as a read aloud. The chapters are all really short, so you can read several chapters at a go. I bought a copy of Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. I've already read this, but I really wanted to own it because I read it as an ebook, and I really wanted a physical copy to put on my shelves. I'm collecting her books. I wanted a copy to put on my shelf, so now I have it. This is a Victorian era mystery thriller that I can't even begin to explain, because it's so plot twisty that, like, I don't know what to say. So you've got one girl who is orphaned at birth, and she's been raised in this like inn with this family, and they're poor, and she's been trained to be a fingersmith, so she's a thief, like a pickpocket. And then you're following another girl who has been raised by her uncle, and she's very wealthy, and so the two intertwine. I'm not going to explain how or talk about that, but it's really, really freaking good. Like, I highly recommend this book. I got a copy of Enchantments by Katherine Harrison. Actually, we picked this up out of the recycling at our town dump because we get books all the time for our store inventory for when we have a store. And this caught my eye and I needed it. So this is a story about Rasputin's daughter and the Romanovs, which that caught my eye immediately because I've always been fascinated by Russian history, and I don't read much of it for some reason. So when I see things like this, I must have them. So I hope it's good. I have no idea. I've never heard of this. It says it's one of the 100 notable books in the New York Times Book Review from 2012. So I also got a copy of Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. This is jumping out of my comfort zone to read this. This is historical romance. I don't tend to read romance ever. It's one of those genres that I've just sort of like, no, that's not for me. But I've never really tried to read it. I decided if I'm going to ever read a romance, it's probably going to be a historical romance because I like historical fiction a lot, and this takes place in Victorian London. That is what draws me in, the Victorian England, and give me all of that. And if there's romance too, sure. I mean, I do like Pride and Prejudice and Jane Austen and that sort of thing. I'm not drawn to modern romance stuff. So maybe this would be something I would enjoy. Also picked up The Captive of Kensington Palace by Jean Plady. This is a story about Queen Victoria, and I think it takes place in her childhood, but I don't know if it goes all the way back through her childhood or if it starts when she's like a young teen. But this is a series that I believe there's at least 2 books, possibly 3, that take place over the course of her life. And we've been watching Victoria on Amazon Prime, and I am obsessed with it. And so I really I want more Queen Victoria stuff. So I found out that Jean Plady had a series and thought, I'll try that. And I got the first book, so we'll see if I like it. I also bought The Golden Hour by Beatrice Williams because we've also been obsessed over The Crown. And this book is about the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. He's the one that was king but abdicated so he could marry his American wife. And this is all about the controversy with how involved he was with the Nazis. I cannot wait to pick this up. I am obsessed already, and I haven't even read this yet. But I'd never heard anything about that somehow. I've read a lot of World War II stuff, but never once have I read anything that talks about the Duke and Duchess of Windsor and their involvement and relationship with Hitler and all of that. So I'm super excited to pick this up. Also, the cover is gorgeous. I have 2 more books. Let me get more tea. I require more tea. I bought Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield. I bought this nervously. I loved The 13th Tale. Thought that was amazing. I read Bellman in Black. Hated it. I could not finish it. I think I only got like a third of the way in before I DNF'd it, and I just was so disappointed. So I've been nervous to pick this up. I didn't buy it right when it came out. I waited because I wanted to hear reviews and see what other people thought. And so far the reviews have been more or less positive. So I'm curious enough now that I'm willing to buy it, but I went and got the paperback. I just think this cover is so stinking pretty. It's so pretty. I love it. So if nothing else, it's got that going for it. And the last book I'll talk about is Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mbalia. I bought this because I've been buying all of the Rick Riordan Presents books. I was thinking that it would fit really nicely in either level 5 or 6, so since I'm updating those. So I went and picked it up, immediately read it, freaking loved it. This book was so good. Like, this is amazing. I was on the fence with some of the Rick Riordan Presents books just because sometimes I feel like middle grade sounds like it's an adult trying to sound like a kid. You know what I mean? Like the use of slang sometimes feels wrong somehow. Like it doesn't feel authentic, and I would rather a book just be written as a really good story without trying to sound like it's for kids. You know what I mean? So I was a little bit nervous that this was going to be that, but oh my gosh, this book is freaking good. So good. I loved it. I'm so excited. It's definitely going to be in level 5 in the update. It's just great. It's a story about this boy who is dealing with grief. His best friend died, and he blames himself. They were in an accident, and he survived and his friend did not. And so he's dealing with that grief. He's on vacation over the summer to go stay with his grandparents on their farm. His parents think it would be good for him to get away, to do some like hard work and like get his mind off of things. And while he's there, he somehow gets wound up in this adventure. He goes to this other world where all the stories that his grandmother has been telling him his whole life are true. They're real. These creatures and beings are alive, and they need his help. And it's so exciting. It's so good. It's just a really great story. I'm going to talk more about it too later in my wrap up probably, but I can't plug this enough. Everyone go buy a copy. It's amazing. I'm going to try and stack these. What's even happening right now? I don't know how this happened. I didn't think it looked like this many books when they were on my shelf, but look at that. It's taller than me in my lap. This is absurd. So anyway, I hope you liked this video. Before I hurt myself, I'm going to wrap this up. I didn't even count. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. 29 books. This is from October and November. I don't think I'm going to buy anything else this month. I usually don't buy myself a lot of stuff at the end of the month anyway in November because I'm sort of just waiting until after Christmas. But this is what I have. This is probably the last book haul you're going to see from me until after Christmas. So I don't know if I'm going to do another book haul in 2019. Did you get any new books lately? I'd love to hear about it. You can tell me down below in the comments and we can chat. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy reading. Bye.